Dr. Elias Carter adjusted the atmospheric sample on his wrist, the device whirring softly as it processed the methane-rich air of Port Telvaris. Around him, the spaceport buzzed with alien life. Hulking Zordi merchants haggling over cargo, delicate vein scribes recording transactions in shimmering ink, and a dozen other species humanity had only met in the last 50 years. He smiled. To think, Earth had once believed it was alone. A shadow fell over him. Korvax, his Zordi research partner, loomed closer, his chitinous plates clicking in irritation. Your readings are unnecessary, Carter. The Union already cataloged this sector's biome. Elias wiped sweat from his brow. The Zorati despised inefficiency, but humanity's obsession with verification baffled them. Science isn't about trusting old data. Korvax. It's about seeing for yourself. He held up a vial of sediment. Like this, your scans miss xenotrophic bacteria. If we introduce this to arid colony worlds. Korvax snatched the vial, his triple-jointed fingers crushing it. Enough. The High Command has revoked your access. You will return to your quarters. Elias stiffened. The Zorati didn't give orders lightly. On whose authority? The Arbiters. The word sent a chill through him. The Arbiters were the Zorati's judicial enforcers, zealous, uncompromising, and infamous for their summary executions. A crowd gathered as a squad of armored Zorati marched forward, their plasma lances humming. At their lead stood Arbiter Vrail, his scarred exoskeleton marking him as a veteran of the Titan Wars. He didn't bother with a translator implant. Asterisk, human. You are charged with espionage. Asterisk. Elias laughed, the sound too loud in the sudden silence. That's absurd. My work is public, approved by the Union. Vrail activated a hollow projector. Grainy footage showed Elias at a data terminal. You access restricted files on Zordi defense grids. The blood drained from Elias's face. That terminal was public, meant for shipping logs. A glitch, or a setup. Check the timestamps. Asterisk confession is irrelevant. Asterisk, Vrail's voice boomed. The penalty is death. Korvax stepped between them. Arbiter, this human is under my... Vrail backhanded him aside. Korvax crashed into a cargo crate, his carapace cracking. Elias reached for his comms. A reflex, useless here. No human warships patrolled this far out. No allies would risk the Zorati's wrath. The plasma lance ignited. Port Telvaris' security cameras captured the moment in crisp detail. Elias Carter, unarmed, standing straight as the Arbiter leveled his weapon. No begging, no flinching, just a quiet, furious whisper. Asterisk, you'll regret this. The blast vaporized his chest. His body hit the deck. The Zorati turned away, already dismissing the incident. The Veyan scribes hurried to record the execution as lawful. The merchants returned to their deals. Only Korvax remained, staring at the smoldering corpse. He'd worked with humans for years. He knew their history, and he knew what came next. The Zordi High Command had expected a war. They had not expected this. Admiral Naomi Reyes watched from the bridge of the UNS Retribution as the human fleet emerged from the void, their black hole dreadnoughts gliding into orbit around Zorath Prime. Below, the planet's sprawling cities pulsed with light. Its billions go about their lives unaware that today, history would be rewritten. All ships report ready, Volkov said, his voice a gravel growl. Reyes didn't smile. Open a channel. Planetary broadcast. A hologram flickered to life above the command console, her face transmitting to every screen, every comm, every public display on the planet. People of Zorath Prime, she began, her voice calm, deliberate. Your leaders executed an unarmed human for a crime he did not commit. They believed there would be no consequences. She paused, letting the words sink in. They were wrong. A ripple of unease spread to the planet's defense grid. Fighters scrambled. Shield generators flared to life. Reyes ignored them. Activate Hades' protocol. Deep within the Retribution, a weapon older than the stars themselves awoke. The Zorati had no name for it. Their sensors screamed in protest as space-time itself bent, reality warping around the human fleet. A pulse of dark energy surged outward, silent, invisible, unstoppable. Across Zora Prime, lights died. Engines stalled. Communications dissolved into static. A planet-wide EMP. Then, the sky burned. Holograms the size of continents flickered to life above every city, every outpost, every slum. The face of Dr. Elias Carter stared down to Zorati, his expression frozen in defiance. "You killed one of us!" His voice boomed, amplified, echoing across the world. "Now your leaders will answer for it." Arbiter Vrail stood in the ruins of the High Command's bunker, his carapace slick with coolant fluid from ruptured systems. The humans hadn't fired a single shot at the surface. They hadn't needed to. The planet was paralyzed. A junior officer stumbled toward him, his antennae twitching in panic. "Arbiter, the Grand Marshal, he's gone." Vrail didn't respond. He already knew. The humans weren't here to conquer. They were here to make an example. Above Zora Prime, the Retribution S hangar bay opened. A single dropship descended. Inside, Admiral Reyes stood flanked by 6 armored Marines, their visors black, their rifles humming with charged plasma. "Remember," she said, her voice cutting through the silence. No negotiations. No mercy. The dropship touched down in the heart of the capital. The Zorati watched helpless as the humans marched toward the Hall of Arbiters. Vrail met them at the steps, his plasma lance discarded, his claws empty. Reyes stopped in front of him. "You have one chance," she said. "Give us the ones responsible, or we take them." Vrail exhaled, his mandibles trembling. For the first time in Zorati history, a high command surrendered. The transmission went out live to every corner of the galaxy. The Grand Marshal and his council knelt in chains before Admiral Reyes. "Let this be a lesson," she said, her voice cold final. "Harm a human again, and we won't stop at your leaders." Then the screen went dark. The message was clear. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never forget it. The message from Port Telvaris arrived on Earth in fractured bursts, corrupted by interstellar static. But its meaning was unmistakable. Dr. Elias Carter had been executed. Admiral Naomi Reyes watched the footage in the dim glow of the Orbital Defense Command, her fingers curling into fists. The Zorati Arbiter hadn't just killed a scientist. He'd made a spectacle of it. The feed showed Elias's last words, his body collapsing, the indifferent crowd already moving on. Across the holodeck, General Oleg Volkov exhaled smoke from a cigar. "They think we'll do nothing." Reyes tapped the console. A star map flared to life. Earth a pale blue, Zorati space a sprawling red stain. Because we've never given them a reason to think otherwise. Humanity had entered the galactic stage cautiously, trading technology, signing treaties, playing the role of the harmless newcomers. But Reyes knew the truth. Every diplomatic concession had been a stalling tactic. Every shared research initiative had been reconnaissance. She flicked a file to the holodeck. Project Aegis. Volkov grinned. You kept them hidden. 16 stealth dreadnoughts, Reyes said, built in the asteroid belts, armed with gravitic lances. We reverse-engineered them from Avenged wreckage at Tau Ceti. A silence settled over the room. The implications were clear. The galaxy saw humanity as scavengers picking at scraps. But scavengers didn't turn alien weapons into something worse. Orders? Volkov asked. Reyes opened a fleet-wide channel. No negotiations. No warnings. Burn their border stations. Leave none alive. The Zorati outpost at Crixus Minor was a skeletal ring of docking spires, its shields calibrated for pirate raids, not war. Lieutenant Jax Moretti guided the UNS Vindicator into position, his fingers dancing across the tactical display. Target locked. Gravitic lance charged. His XO Commander Hale hesitated. Sir, they're shields. Won't matter. Moretti smirked. The weapon fired. Space itself rippled. The outpost shields flared, then shattered like glass. The spires twisted, their metal screaming as unseen forces crushed them into scrap. Within seconds, Crixus Minor was a tomb. Moretti leaned back. Send the footage. Tag it for the Galactic Union feeds. Arbiter Vrail watched the destruction replay on the High Command holoscreen, his mandibles twitching. The humans had struck 3 outposts in as many hours. No demands. No declarations of war. Just annihilation. Impossible, hissed Grand Marshal Zeth. Their ships are freighters, not warships. Vrail zoomed in on the wreckage. The damage wasn't from plasma or kinetics. The metal looked chewed, as if some great beast had taken bites out of reality itself. A junior officer rushed in, his carapace dull with fear. Marshal, the humans are broadcasting. The holoscreen flickered. A human female in a black uniform stared back, her eyes cold. You killed one of ours, Admiral Reyes said. Now watch what happens when we stop asking nicely. The transmission cut. Zeth snarled. Recall the fleets. Guard the core worlds. But Vrail said nothing, because he'd seen the look in that human's eyes. And for the first time in his long, brutal life, he was afraid. The silence in the Galactic Union chambers was thicker than the atmosphere of a gas giant. Ambassador Lyra Vex of the Veyan Confederacy adjusted her translator collar, her delicate fingers trembling as she surveyed the assembled delegates. The Zorati delegation seat stood empty, a gaping wound in the circular chamber. The humans, for the first time in history, occupied the central speaking platform. Admiral Naomi Reyes stood before them, her uniform immaculate, her expression unreadable. She carried no weapon. She needed none. Members of the Galactic Union, she began, her voice cutting to the tension like a blade. You are no doubt aware of recent events. A holographic display flickered to life above the chamber floor, replaying the fall of Zorath Prime. The EMP, the planetary holograms, the High Command surrender. Delegates from a dozen species shifted uncomfortably. The Growther ambassador's chitinous plates rattled in distress. "You allowed this," Reyes continued, her gaze sweeping across the assembly. "When the Zorati executed Dr. Carter, you called it regrettable but lawful. When we responded, you called us barbaric." She leaned forward, her palms flat on the podium. "So tell me, where were your protests when it was just one human life?" The silence deepened. Lyra Vex found herself standing before she realized she'd moved. "Admiral, surely you understand. The Zorati have been a member species for centuries. Their laws are irrelevant," Reyes interrupted. "Humanity is done playing by rules that only apply to the weak." A murmur rippled through the chamber. The Growther ambassador rose, his forearms spread in a placating gesture. "What do you want?" Reyes smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Recognition. The terms were simple. Brutally so. Humanity would no longer be a provisional member of the Galactic Union. They would have full voting rights. Their colonies would be protected under interstellar law. Their scientists would have unrestricted access to all shared research. And the Zorati? Their military was disbanded. Their border outposts, now smoking ruins, would remain unrebuilt. Their high command, stripped of power, would answer to a human oversight council. The Growther ambassador protested. "This is tantamount to slavery." Reyes didn't blink. It's accountability. When the vote was called, it passed unanimously. Korvax found Admiral Reyes on the observation deck of the Retribution, staring at the stars. His carapace still bore the cracks from Port Telvaris. "You didn't destroy us," he said. Reyes didn't turn. "No. Why?" Now she looked at him, her dark eyes reflecting the distant glow of Zorath Prime. "Because Elias wouldn't have wanted that." Korvax exhaled, his mandibles clicking softly. He'd spent decades studying humans, but only now did he truly understand. They weren't cruel. They were just, and that made them far more dangerous. The transmission reached Earth 8 hours later. In the streets in the colonies, on the ships drifting between the stars, humanity watched as Admiral Reyes addressed the galaxy one final time. "This is not a victory," she said. "It is a warning. We will not be ignored. We will not be underestimated." She paused, letting the words hang in the void. "The age of humanity begins today." The screen went dark. Somewhere in the depths of space, a new star flared to life. It burned brighter than all the others. The observation deck of the UNS Retribution offered a panoramic view of Earth's reconstruction efforts. The orbital shipyards buzzed with activity like metallic bees around their hive. Admiral Naomi Reyes watched as the skeletal frames of new dreadnoughts took shape, their designs incorporating both human ingenuity and salvaged alien technology. The scars of war were fading, but the lessons remained etched in steel and memory. A soft chime announced her visitor. Reyes didn't need to turn to recognize the measured footsteps of General Oleg Volkov, his boots still bearing the dust of Mars training grounds. "The van delegation arrives in 6 hours," he rumbled, his voice carrying the weight of too many sleepless nights. "They're bringing their first scholar this time." Reyes' fingers traced the data pad in her hand, its screen displaying the latest reports from the Zorti occupation zone. Lyra Vex wouldn't come personally unless they were desperate. The words tasted bitter. 3 months since the surrender, and already the galaxy was testing humanity's resolve. Volkov activated the holographic star map between them, its blue glow casting sharp shadows across his scarred face. "The Grother are mobilizing near the Kelmar expanse. Not against us, yet, but they've stopped answering our envoys." The Admiral's lips thinned. She'd expected this. The moment humanity had shown its fangs, the other predator species began circling. Double patrols along the colonial border. "And bring Korvax in. He understands their psychology better than our analysts." As Volkov nodded and turned to leave, the deck's massive observation window reflected Reyes' tired eyes back at her. The weight of the Admiral's stars on her collar felt heavier these days. Victory had brought no rest, only different battles. Korvax entered the strategy room with the careful movements of a being navigating a minefield. His carapace, once the deep violet of Zordi nobility, had faded to a muted gray during his months of exile among humans. The room's tactical displays reflected in his compound eyes as he studied the Grother fleet movements. "Your analysts are correct," he said, his translator implant smoothing the clicks of his native speech. "This isn't preparation for war. It's a mating display." Volkov's cigar paused halfway to his lips. "Explain." "The Grother respect strength above all. By showing their ships near your borders, they invite challenge." Korvax manipulated the hollow display with surprising dexterity. "Ignore them and you appear weak. Attack and you waste resources. There is another way." Reyes leaned forward. "You're suggesting we outdisplay them." A human might have smiled. Korvax merely inclined his head. "The Grother value spectacle over substance. Show them something impossible." The Admiral's comm link buzzed before she could respond. The voice of her aide, tense with controlled panic. "Admiral, we have a situation at Outpost Theta. A Veyan research vessel just static swallowed the rest." Reyes was already moving. "Volkov, prep the rapid response fleet. Korvax with me." As they strode toward the command center, she tapped her wrist unit. "All stations, condition Alpha. This isn't a drill." Outpost Theta hung in the void like a forgotten toy, its modular design a testament to humanity's early attempts at deep space construction. The Veyan ship docked at its primary airlock bore the scars of recent combat, its elegant silver hull pockmarked with plasma burns. Reyes studied the feed from the security drones as her shuttle approached. "That's not a research vessel," she muttered. The telltale bulge of concealed weapon bays marred its otherwise sleek lines. "Volkov, stand by for my signal." The docking bay airlock hissed open to reveal chaos. Veyan in tattered diplomatic robes tended to wounded comrades, their bioluminescent markings pulsing erratically with pain. At their center stood Scholar Lyra Vex, her usually immaculate robes stained purple with what could only be blood. "You!" she gasped as Reyes entered, her delicate fingers trembling. They wouldn't listen. They said your kind couldn't be trusted with Dash. A coughing fit racked her slender frame. Reyes caught her before she collapsed. The Veyan woman weighed alarmingly little. "Medical team now." As the corpsman rushed forward, Reyes spotted the data crystal clutched in Lyra's hand, its surface cracked but still glowing faintly. The dying scholar pressed it into Reyes' palm. "The Grother weren't testing you," she whispered. "They were distracting you." Her last breath fogged the crystal surface. "They found something terrible." As the medical team lifted Lyra's body onto a stretcher, Reyes slotted the crystal into her wrist unit. The decoded files made her blood run cold. Deep in the uncharted Kelmar expanse, the Grother had uncovered ruins, not alien, but unmistakably human, and they were waking something up.